Hello guys, my name is Gavin, and this will be a video on how to make a game where the experience points will load into the player upon the startup of the game, and then when you press the spacebar to quit the game, it'll save the amount of experience points you have into a file. And I'm just going to get started. To start off, what you need to do is right click on your desktop, hit new, and then create a new folder. I already made mine. It's called experience points folder or XP folder. Right click on your cube in the middle, and let's actually do a new... And let's do a text document, and this text document will be named as XP file, like this, and inside of it we want to have it so that our player's XP will be 0 to start off. Hit file and save like this, hit this X button, and minimize the folder. I'm actually going to open Blender because I forgot to do that earlier. And once you have Blender open, what we're going to do is go from defaults to game logic and go from Blender render to Blender game. And on our cube in the middle down here, we're going to add an always sensor with none of these selected, and add a Python controller and connect it like this. Now the importance of this always sensor with nothing selected is that immediately upon startup this will run and then never run again. So this will be the stuff that we load upon starting up our game. And I'm just going to do templates, Python, and then game logic simple like this. And what we're going to do is, if I can actually drag this out, there we go, is delete the portion that I've highlighted right here and rename this as startup.py. So that'll be the new name of our script. Okay, once we have that, add a game property. My mouse is kind of dying for a second. This game property will be an integer. We'll name it as points. All right? And just to show you how this works, I'm going to set this to 11 really quick, because when the startup function loads up, it's just going to set it back to 0. Inside of our startup function, what we're going to do is at the top, I'm actually going to drag this down just a little bit, like this, is I'm going to import logic from the BGE. So let's do from BGE imports logic, and let's now do path is going to equal logic.expand path, and like this. Okay, once we have that, what we're going to do is define the file we're opening. So file is going to equal open, and then path. And the file we want to open is the XP file, .txt. We want to read the information from it, so let's do that. And we're going to do line is going to equal file.readLine. So we're going to read the information from the file. Then we're going to have the variable number is going to equal an integer of the number of the string variable that's inside. So an integer of line. Because if you remember, all information inside that file is a string. So it's going to read a string of the number 0, and we're going to convert that to an integer. And we are going to set the game property points to the integer inside the file. So onPoints is going to equal number. And since we started off with 11, I'm just going to click this I and then do game and then show debug properties. So when we hit P, we can see it actually doesn't go back down from 11. That's probably because of an error. XP file.txt. Oh, my mistake. Hold on one second. Do file and then save to that XP file. You need to save your actual documents to the XP folder. I'll just do game like this. I forgot to do that at the start. I apologize. So we should see now it'll set to 0 because we now have points there. And if we open up our folder, we see we have game and then XP file. They need to be in the same file. I apologize for not doing that earlier. Okay. Once we have that, what we're going to do is make another always sensor, and this is going to be with the 3 dots selected to imply that this will be the sensor that runs the entire game. Add a keyboard sensor. This keyboard sensor we named as space. Like tap, and let's put the space bar in here. And we'll now make a mouse sensor with tap selected, and I will select click right here. That will be the new name, and keep it at left button. And let's now add a Python controller like this. And let's connect these like this. Okay, now that we have that, what we're going to do is I'm going to do text and create an empty text block, because we're not going to need we're going to make this a little bit different than our normal game logic simple. Let's import the logic from the BGE first and do from BGE sorry, not import logic. Import the BGE and then do from BGE import and then logic. Once we have that, we're going to do path is going to equal logic.expand path like this. And below this, what we're going to do is define the controller and owner outside of our functions. So controller const is going to equal bg.logic dot get current controller like this, and own is going to equal const.owner. Alright, let's now define two different functions. The save one is what we're going to do first. And what we're going to do is have file is going to equal open path plus xpfile.txt xt. And since we want to actually write information inside of it, let's put w like this. Okay, now that we called that, what we're going to do is do file.write. I'm going to put a string version. Actually, before we do that, yeah, let's have number is going to equal own points to stand for the amount of experience points we have. And we're going to do file.write a string version of number. So it's going to convert this to a string and then add it to our file. So it's going to write it like this. And let's now define our main function. So define main, and underneath it, let's run main. What we're going to do inside of our main function is define our controllers. So let's do space is going to equal const.sensors space, and then let's do click is going to equal const.sensors click. Once we have this, what we're going to do is have if click.positive. We are going to do own points. Points is going to plus equal 1. So we should see if we hit the play button. Actually, wait. We need to add the script first, I believe. Yeah, add the text script like this. And if we hit the play button now, we should see every time we click, it's going to go up. Okay, but if we hit play now, it should go back to 0. Alright, so now that we have that, what we're going to do is have if we press the spacebar or if space.positive, it's going to call the save function that we defined. So save is going to be called, and then it's going to do logic.endgame. So it's going to quit the game after it saves. So what should happen is if I click and press the spacebar, it'll quit. But if I hit P, it'll start up back again at 8. And if I hit the spacebar again, it will save that. And if I go back into my file, see that the XP file is now labeled at 17, or essentially the number that we saved. So that's how you make a game load the information upon start and then save the information upon quitting in an experience points type manner. I hope you guys found this useful. I will show you the script just for one more second. This. So define your save function. File is going to equal open.write. Define the number is equal to points. Convert that number to a string and write it inside the file. And then define your sensors. If we click, it'll add more experience points. And if we take away, or if we press the spacebar and quit, it will end the game. Alright guys, I hope you guys found this useful. As you can see, we now have 40 experience points. Thanks guys.